And here to go more in depth about Trump's tax plan is senior financial editor of the High Income Factor newsletter, Tom Hutchinson. Thanks so much for joining us here on Newsmax Now. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thanks for having me, Miranda.
So, Tom, the Tax Policy Center conducted this analysis. It says a majority of the tax cuts under Trump's plan would go to the wealthy. The top 0.1% of taxpayers would receive an average tax cut of more than $1.3 million in 2017, or almost 19% of their after-tax income. Middle-income households would receive an average tax cut of $2,700, or about 4.9% of their tax income. All this is according to this report. So does it sound like this plan to you would mostly benefit the wealthy?
Well, it may, but you have to realize the tax code is so progressive as it is, it's hard to revise it in any way without a benefit to the wealthy. But that's really not the major problem with this study that says it's going to cost $9.5 trillion in 10 years. That's nonsense. And I'll tell you why. There have been three major tax cuts in modern times. Kennedy did it, Reagan did it, and Bush did it. In every instance, tax revenues, income tax revenues went higher. Now, how is that when you lower the tax rate? Because there's all that extra money in the private sector that would have been lost to taxes. People have more to spend. Businesses can expand. It expands the tax base. So, albeit at lower percentages, there's more to tax from. And in the past, this has made for more tax revenues, not less. And this plan fails to acknowledge that fact.
Now, the Tax Policy Center says Trump's tax plan would cut revenue by almost $10 trillion over the next decade. Others analyze the cost upwards to $12 trillion. The latest budget passed adds to our deficit. Will Trump, though, in your mind, be able to make his tax plan happen if we're already spending beyond our revenue, if he becomes the next president?
Well, that's a great question, Miranda. And one of the reasons I think he's leading is that people feel that he might just have the personality and the force to make it happen. But understand, this is a politically motivated study. It's not going to increase the deficit by $9 trillion because to say that would happen is, you know, what these studies do is they assume that the taxes taken into the government would be the same, whether tax rates are at current levels or at the lower 25% that Trump is proposing, which is patently absurd. It says it doesn't matter if you take trillions out of the private economy, growth is the same. It doesn't matter if you give the private economy trillions of dollars, growth is the same. That is patently absurd. The people that do these studies know it, and this is a politically motivated thing to promote an ideology.
And it looks like we lost Tom Hutchinson. Our apologies for the technical error on that, but we appreciate his insight and we appreciate his time.